Have you ever caught yourself trapped in the same negative thought loop, replaying the same scene, the same mistake, the same fear over and over again? It feels like your brain is stuck on repeat, like a broken record you can't shut off. Maybe you're lying in bed, unable to sleep because your mind keeps dragging you back to that embarrassing comment you made years ago. Or maybe you're trying to focus on work, but your thoughts keep circling around the possibility of failure, rejection, or something bad that might happen. The more you try to push these thoughts away, the stronger they become. You say to yourself, "Stop thinking about this," but your brain doesn't listen. Instead, it doubles down. This is not a personal flaw. This is not because you are weak. This is how the brain is wired. And the good news is, with the right approach, you can break that loop in just 5 seconds. Today, I want to show you the science-backed way to do it. First, let's understand why these loops happen. The brain has a natural negativity bias. From an evolutionary perspective, it helped us survive. Our ancestors didn't need to remember every peaceful sunset, but they had to remember the location of danger, the sound of a predator, or the moment they made a mistake. That bias still lives inside us today. That's why one negative comment outweighs 10 compliments. That's why one mistake keeps you up at night, while 100 small wins fade into the background. Your brain treats negative thoughts like Velcro. They stick. Positive thoughts, on the other hand, slide off like Teflon. So when you find yourself looping, it's not you failing. It's your nervous system doing its job too well. The challenge is not to eliminate negativity. The challenge is to interrupt the loop before it spirals out of control. Here's the key insight. Your brain can't sustain two competing signals at the same time. A repetitive thought loop needs silence to grow, like weeds spreading in an empty field. If you send the brain a strong competing signal, the loop breaks instantly. That's why the most effective way to stop a negative thought is not to argue with it, not to suppress it, but to interrupt it physically. And here comes the 5-second rule that changes everything. Whenever you notice yourself spiraling into a loop, shift your body immediately. Stand up if you're sitting, turn your head sharply to one side, clap your hands once loudly. That single physical unexpected act sends a jolt through your nervous system, disrupting the cycle. In just 5 seconds, your brain loses the momentum of the loop. It can't cling to the thought in the same way. This is not theory. This is neurobiology. Your body movement interrupts the repetitive firing of the neural pathway that was keeping the thought alive. Think of it like this. A negative thought loop is like a train running on tracks. As long as the track is clear, the train will keep moving endlessly in circles. But the moment you throw a rock on the track, even a small one, the train has to stop. Your physical action is that rock. It doesn't erase the thought from existence, but it breaks its momentum, giving you a chance to redirect your mind. And the beautiful thing is that the action can be tiny. You don't need to do something dramatic. Even something as small as standing up and turning your body away from the spot you were sitting in can completely change the loop. Your posture, your breath, your perspective, all of these cues signal to the brain, we are shifting states. And when your body shifts, your mind follows. Now let's go deeper. Why does this work so quickly? Because thoughts are not just ideas floating in your head. They are patterns of neural firing in your brain, tightly linked to the state of your nervous system. When you sit still, ruminating, your body reinforces the loop. Stillness plus repetition equals persistence. But when you suddenly move, especially in a way that breaks the pattern of stillness, your nervous system recalibrates. The amygdala, which is driving the anxious loop, gets interrupted by new sensory input. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes decisions and focuses attention, re-engages. You gain back control. It's like pressing a reset button in real time. Let me show you how this looks in practice. Imagine you're stuck in your head, replaying a mistake from work. You feel your stomach tighten and your mind keeps telling you, "I messed everything up." Instead of arguing with yourself or trying to push the thought away, you notice the loop. And the moment you notice it, you act. You stand up, you stretch your arms high above your head, and you turn to face a different direction in the room. 5 seconds, that's all. Suddenly, it's as if your brain blinks. The thought that was gripping you loses its sharpness. You're no longer caught inside the loop. Now you have a choice to redirect your attention to something useful, something grounding, something real. This brings us to the simple framework I want you to carry with you. Notice, interrupt, redirect. Step 1, notice the loop. The first and most powerful skill is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. So the moment you catch yourself repeating the same thought for the third or fourth time, say to yourself, "This is a loop." That recognition alone already weakens its grip. Step 2. Interrupt the loop. Do the 5-second physical action. Move your body, shift your head, clap, stand, change your environment. Anything that disrupts the stillness is enough to break the cycle. Step 3. Redirect your focus. Once the loop is broken, fill the empty space with something intentional. It could be taking a deep breath, reminding yourself of one thing you're grateful for, or simply focusing on the task in front of you. The interruption buys you a window of clarity. The redirection locks in the new state. Notice how this framework is not about fighting your brain. It's about working with it. If you try to argue with your negative thoughts, they grow stronger. If you try to ignore them, they shout louder. But if you interrupt the loop physically, you take away their fuel. You stop feeding the cycle. This is why the 5-second action is so powerful. It's simple, it's fast, and it works every time you remember to use it. And the more you practice, the faster your brain learns the pattern. Negative loop equals interruption equals freedom. Over time, this becomes automatic. You'll find yourself noticing loops earlier, interrupting them faster, and spending less and less of your life trapped in repetitive negativity. Let's test this with a thought experiment. Think of a time when you were caught in a spiral. Maybe you were lying awake at 2 a.m., replaying an awkward conversation. Now, imagine that in the middle of that spiral, you had suddenly sat up, swung your legs out of bed, and touched the floor with both feet. 5 seconds. What happens? Your body shifts state. The loop in your head loses its grip because your physical action sends a louder signal than your repetitive thought. This isn't about distracting yourself. It's about reclaiming control of your nervous system in real time. It's not positive thinking. It's biology. The loop cannot survive the interruption. Once it's broken, you step into the third part of the framework, redirection. And this is where the real magic happens. Think of redirection as giving your mind a new track to run on. You've stopped the train of thought, but unless you place it onto a new set of tracks, it might just start circling again. The trick is to replace the empty space with something intentional, even if it's tiny. For example, one of the fastest ways to redirect is to ask yourself a grounding question. What's one thing I can see right now? That question pulls your attention out of the abstract, imaginary world of negative thought and anchors it in the concrete present moment. Or you can take a single deep breath and focus on the physical sensation of air entering and leaving your body. That 5-second shift, interrupt plus redirect, becomes a reset button for your entire mental state. But here's something even deeper. Every time you do this, you are teaching your brain a new identity. The old identity says, "I'm someone who gets stuck in negative loops." The new identity says, "I'm someone who notices when I'm looping and knows how to break free." That shift in identity is more powerful than the technique itself. Because once your brain sees you as capable of interrupting the loop, it starts to catch the loops earlier, sometimes before they even take hold. Over time, the spiral that used to last an hour now lasts a minute, and then a few seconds. You don't just break free once, you rewire your mental habits to favor freedom over repetition. You might wonder, but what if the negative thought comes back? And the answer is, it probably will. That's normal. Thoughts are not enemies to be eliminated. They are signals, sometimes useful, sometimes misleading. The goal is not to create a mind with no negative thoughts. That would be impossible. The goal is to prevent those thoughts from hijacking your attention and trapping you in endless cycles. Every time you notice the loop, interrupt it, and redirect, you're practicing resilience. And resilience isn't about never falling. It's about standing up faster each time. The 5-second shift is your tool to stand up. Let's make this ultra practical. The next time you feel stuck in a loop, follow this script. Step 1. Say silently to yourself, "This is a loop." That labels the experience and weakens its power. Step 2. Take 5 seconds to move. Stand up, turn your head sharply, or do a single intentional gesture. That interrupts the neural firing pattern. Step 3. Redirect. Anchor your mind on one physical sensation, one small task, or one grounding question. That reclaims your attention. Notice how different you feel after just 15 seconds. You didn't push the thought away. You didn't analyze it. You broke its rhythm and gave your brain a new one. Here's a metaphor that will help you remember this forever. Imagine your negative thought as a song stuck on repeat in your head. If you just sit there, the song will play endlessly. If you try to fight it, it gets louder. But if you turn on another sound, even snapping your fingers or tapping a table, The stuck song breaks. Your 5-second action is that snap. And the redirection is choosing a new song to play. This is not about force, it's about rhythm. And the rhythm of your body is stronger than the rhythm of your negative loop. Now, why should you care? Because these loops don't just waste time, they drain life. They keep you from sleeping, from being present with people you love, from focusing on the work that matters. They convince you that you are your worst moments, that you are your mistakes. But you are not your loops. You are the person who can notice them and step out of them. That distinction is everything. And once you truly feel it, you realize, I don't have to be trapped. I can step out in 5 seconds anytime I choose. Imagine how much lighter your days become when you know that you're never more than 5 seconds away from freedom. You wake up, the first negative thought hits. 5 seconds and you break it. You're at work, caught replaying a failure. 5 seconds and you reset. You're lying in bed at night, stuck in what-ifs. 5 seconds and you're back in control. This is not theory. This is a skill. And like any skill, the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, the very act of noticing a loop will automatically trigger the interruption. Your brain will learn, loop equals shift. And that's when you know you've rewired your mental patterns for good. So here's my invitation to you. Don't just listen to this, test it. The next time you feel trapped in a negative loop, don't wait, don't analyze, don't fight. Notice it. Interrupt it with one physical act. Redirect your mind with one intentional focus. Feel how quickly your state changes. And then remind yourself, I am not my loop. I am the person who chooses where my mind goes. That is the truth you carry with you now. And the next time negativity tries to pull you in, remember, you are only 5 seconds away from freedom.